Jordan of the Critical Cat here with Liz White of Animal Alliance and Environmental Voters of Canada. Liz, you've come out here from Ontario to help Deer Safe Victoria and the BC Deer Protection Society work on the issue here in Oak Bay of the deer cull. How's it been going so far?
Well, it's been very, very interesting. I think the really difficult part of it is that we don't actually know whether the cull will start. And being at council tonight with a direct question to the mayor, as the cull started, we're still not being told whether it started or not. So we're in this position of trying to figure out if the cull has started, what that means, trying to locate traps, working on a whole variety of different things, including a presentation to council tonight to try and convince council to stop the cull or not even start the cull and look at alternatives.
Yeah, so from the perspective of Animal Alliance, I mean, can you tell people maybe a little bit who don't know about Animal Alliance, what they do and how it applies to Oak Bay deer cull?
Right. So we're a national non-profit organization with members all across Canada, including in BC and in Victoria, and in fact in Oak Bay. And so in response to our folks who are interested in protecting animals, we do a lot of work on trying to resolve human-wildlife conflicts without killing animals. And so that brings us to many, many communities where cull programs like the deer cull program in Oak Bay is being proposed, and in the Kootenays, and again in Ontario, and many, many other animals, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't just an isolated incident in Oak Bay by any means. It's going on across BC. It's going on, in reality, across North America right now. And it's important that it's addressed in every single community as it comes up, and this isn't just looked at as a single location issue.
Exactly, and this process of bolt gun and clover trap was actually brought into effect in Helena, Montana, and then brought up into the Kootenays in BC. And our concern is that, of course, communities are, this option is going to spread like wildfire should there be no resistance to it. So we've put up, I think, a pretty significant resistance to all the calls that have occurred, and there's a growing population that's opposing it. And what many communities find that do this stuff is that their communities are divided, and people are fighting with each other, and knowing that there are other options that can bring people together and build communities, as opposed to tearing them apart and killing innocent animals, should be the way to go.
Definitely. I mean, this isn't just about, it becomes a much larger issue than just the deer, which is, a good thing to address in some ways, and of course we want to make sure that at the end of the day we're still focusing on the deer, but you see the way it affects the communities, you see the way how upset people get, how divided they are, and this is a profound aspect of it that can't be ignored, is the division.
Well, and I think the idea that the council, who's spending taxpayers' dollars, and citizens here who are taxpayers in this community, can't be told where their taxpayer dollars are going, how they're being spent, and allow people to look at the process so that there's a transparency to it, speaks to the fact of the inhumaneness of it and the ineffectiveness of it and the sheer violence of it when they actually apply the bolt gun to the brain of the deer. And so I think the fact that it has to be hidden and done in the dark behind closed doors and not discussed really in any real way. And as one of the deputies said tonight, criminalizing residents of Oak Bay who want to see it speaks to the fact that this is just a bad way to go. It's a bad policy, bad for the deer, bad for the community, bad for the environment, and we should look at doing something different.
Definitely. So at this point, I mean, you were here tonight at the Oak Bay Council meeting. Where, how did you feel Oak Bay has responded to this issue tonight and perhaps throughout this campaign against the deer cull?
Well, I think it hasn't responded in a rational way. I think there's a lot of hype and hyperbole, fear-mongering about deer and about their behavior. My experience is in communities where people begin to understand wildlife and wildlife behavior, the fear dissipates and people learn how to live, coexist peacefully with them. But in this case, that's not the point. That, you know, the data that they're talking about, deer numbers, the fact of the matter is they know nothing. They don't know how many deer there are. They don't know what they do, where they go, what they eat, what the family groupings are like, how they move around. They know nothing. They know how, they have no idea how many come in from Saanich, how many come in from Victoria. They know absolutely. So, you know, it's like operating in the dark, and it's ridiculous. So,
Yeah, they haven't shown that they've done their due diligence. They're not holding themselves accountable for any of the consequences of the cull, any of the division in the community, and obviously the violence done to the deer, and you know, the inhumane nature of the way the cull is to be carried out.
And I think I read a lot of the literature this afternoon preparing for this report, and the literature is quite clear that even for the period of time that the deer is in a clover trap, that there is very real humane issues. So the chief veterinarian, Helen Schwanze's dismissal of that is just very, very, very irresponsible.
And I mean, that seems to be generally, so far, the way that a lot of government bodies, whether it's the ministry or OPE, handle this, the CRD, is irresponsibly. I think it's a good word to deal with it. Thank you so much for coming all the way out here, Liz. It's great to have you. It's been great to meet you. And hopefully we'll see more of you.
Well, we'll be fighting on.
That's right.
This is not
continues.
We don't go away.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna,
just so the mayor and council knows, we don't go away.
Yeah, we'll be here every step of the way till the very end. So, yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
It's a tradition on the Critical Cat to ask people what people's favorite animal is, and so I have to ask you that.
Oh, well, my favorite animal tends to be the ones that I'm defending at any particular time. So I go through a whole variety of different animals. We are working to save cormorants, so they're lovely big blackbirds who live in waterbird colonies, and I adore them.
The double-crested cormorants?
The double-crested cormorants,
okay,
yeah. And then we've been doing a lot of work on beaver, so I've learned all about beaver, and they become my favorite animal. And now I'm here, and black-tailed deer at the moment are my favorite animals. So it moves depending on which animal I'm working with.
Okay, so black-tailed deer right now.
Right now.
So the trick right now to that question is that we usually ask people to do their best impression of their favorite animal.
Oh, no way. I have no idea what they sound like.
Well, they must have a sound.
I know, they look
you can
like
do your
this.
best. That's pretty good. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Oh, who's that? I saw this really fantastic documentary about mule deer. So black-tailed deer are a subspecies of mule deer.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about that documentary is the big ears, and this intricate family connection in the animals. It was an amazing documentary, and you just realize the depth and complexity of these particular creatures. So although they have big ears and they look at you like this.
Let's do it together. Okay, one
okay,
double.
Together.
Okay, ready?
1, 2, 3. Who's that?
Okay. That's great. Thanks so much, Liz.